So you guys, welcome. It's always great to connect with you live, virtually live during these sessions. And today we're super excited to talk about the dp2 CaptureLife relationship and how it's designed to help all of us ultimately delivering to the end consumer digital files in a manner in which they like to have those delivered in an engaging manner that gives you guys the opportunity for more print revenue. So let's talk about that. I just have a few slides here to go through. I want to visualize the workflow, and I'll be bouncing off to dp2 momentarily to show you guys how this works. But let's think about how orders normally either come into dp2 today in your workflows or how you normally create order items in dp2. This whole workflow is about not disrupting anything that you're already doing, but complementing it in a very seamless manner now that dp2 version 21.2 is API ready to communicate with CaptureLife very seamlessly. So it's all about a product, guys. It's all about a CaptureLife product. You guys know more about dp2 products than anyone. So, and I'm going to show you the mechanics of that product. It's basically just a CaptureLife product with CaptureLife specific nodes. That's it, that contain information and instructions that go to CaptureLife. So if you guys have remote order entry systems, which most of you do, you just need to make sure that now that CaptureLife product is a part of your catalog, a part of a package, an available unit, or however your customers order that. You just need to make sure that that's available to them. And then when that order is placed, well, good things happen. Prints come in. This digital download CaptureLife product is going to come into dp2, and you'll be able to take advantage of every one of your workflows inside of dp2. So you don't have to work with CaptureLife outside of dp2, but right inside of dp2 and take advantage of whatever it is that you're doing, all of your workflows that you're connected with, right? Your 36 pix, your chroma key, your retouching, your image optimization, manual and automated tools, your cropping tools. I mean, whatever it is that you do, and you do all of that inside of dp2. Your dp2 is like the hub for so many of these workflows to come together and be dp2 is the source of. So this just fits seamlessly into what you're already doing, guys. And then from there, good things happen as far as rendering goes. So dp2 is going to send print products to printers and render to disk, and dp2 is going to upload CaptureLife products to the CaptureLife portal. And ideally, if those images, those jobs, if those were automatically set to download to the end consumer, then that consumer, us happy moms and dads, I'm going to talk about myself as a consumer of these images. My kids are in high school, so I'm really looking forward to be reached this way. I'm not being reached this way right now, and I'll share a story with you. But just to kind of hang out on this part of it a little bit, your dp2 product will contain information that gets sent up to the CaptureLife portal. And if you've indicated that that shareable image should be downloaded to the end consumer, then it will be. It's communicated ideally with a cell phone. You guys know the drill. That's how we want to be communicated with. We are all in touch with our cell phones at all times. And for the shareable part of this once in a lifetime moment, this is it. This satisfies that shareable instant gratification. It gives me the opportunity, it gives consumers the opportunity to order more prints. Now, the order that came into dp2, sure, maybe that was a prepaid order, prepaid package coming in with the CaptureLife digital download file as a part of that. But CaptureLife offers a print store solution, so you'll want to talk to CaptureLife about not only their print store, but better yet, tying in your commerce solution to that print store so that you have a larger revenue opportunity with additional prints that come in. So again, I'll just hang out here for one more second. when CaptureLife receives these images, these moments, these jobs, we use these terms kind of interchangeably. If they're supposed to be instantly delivered to moms and dads on their cell phones or their email addresses, that's what happens. If they can't get to mom and dad because that information was not supplied, whether that was a mistake or whether it was intentional, well, the photographer, or if you're if you're not working with photographers as part of your customer, if you're an integrated lab, then you might get those communications that say, hey, well, we've uploaded the images to the portal, but something needs to happen. Somebody needs to go, and maybe it's a PNG, a chroma key workflow, and maybe backgrounds need to be added in the portal, and then those notifications are sent out to the end consumer. So I think the point here, guys, is whatever's supposed to happen can happen. If those deliveries are intended to take place right away, then they will take place. If for some reason there needs to be some interception and something happening in the CaptureLife portal before those deliveries get made, then there's an opportunity for that too, and either you or your photographers in that case would be notified that says, hey, images were uploaded by your lab, but you need to get in there and do something, and then make those notifications and those deliveries. So when that delivery happens to, I'm going to say us as moms and dads and those recipients of these shareable files, CaptureLife provides us with a great engaging platform. It gives us the opportunity to purchase more prints, and I'll use myself as an example. I need to be communicated with in this manner. My daughter's a 14-year-old. She does not like any picture taken of her, like many teenage girls. So she gets her package that I've already paid for in some cases. Sometimes it's a spec order in the spring or something. And she takes that package that she gets from her school and she shoves it on the bottom of her locker, and I never see those prints if she does at the end of the school year bring home a garbage bag with everything from the bottom of her locker, I might find some crumpled up, maybe torn remnants of what were her pictures. So I need to receive my kids' pictures this way. I need to engage this way. I assure you that I will be a mom that does purchase more prints, because in some cases I don't get the prints home from my kids in the first place. So, you know, you guys know the drill here, whether we're a millennial or a Gen X or a baby boomer, we're all wired to our phone. This is the way that we want to be contacted. It satisfies that shareable, oh yeah, and I'll make my extended family members happy too, because of course I'm the one that gets in trouble by not sharing my kids' pictures with them. So at this point, it's all about building relationships, right? Ultimately with the end consumer. Photographers and you guys have the opportunity to tap into revenue opportunities via the print store. Talk to CaptureLife about that. Talk to CaptureLife about integrating your own commerce solution. Why don't you guys take a screen grab of the information that's on the screen now? There's TW. TW is the contact. So we want you to contact CaptureLife if you're interested in getting started, and you'll see TW's email there as well as his phone number. So you'll need to contact CaptureLife because they'll get you set up as a CaptureLife lab. We're going to need those credentials when we help you out with the dp2 side of things. So I'm going to jump into dp2 and show you the dp2 side of things. You'll need the latest release of dp2 version 21.2, and then let us know, because you also need one more script file from us that is needed for the uploading and streamlining and communicating your images to the CaptureLife portal. So you guys have that okay? Did I give you the chance to take a screen grab or take a picture? I'd say jot it down, but I'd rather take a picture of it. You guys do what you want there. Thanks, you guys. And then just one more slide here to run through. There's 3 steps for you guys to think about in dp2, and they're simple, really simple. It's all about a product. So we give you a CaptureLife product in the new build, 21.2. I really didn't need both check boxes there, but it looks so minimal if I didn't have another item there that basically said it's about the CaptureLife product via the CaptureLife nodes. That's what it's driven off of. These CaptureLife nodes have CaptureLife names, and they basically indicate what to do, what to send to CaptureLife for further downstream delivery. So that's the first step, is make sure that you have created CaptureLife products. Use our product as an example, or use it in production, as long as you save it as a different file, because I'll say this several times, because we overwrite the sample CaptureLife product that is in your dp2 builds each and every time you grab a new build. So don't work in production with the sample that we provide you. Step 2 is, well, let's just put that setup credential information that you receive from CaptureLife, let's put that into dp2. If your photographers are CaptureLife customers, you'll enter in their credentials. If you're a vertical lab, you guys can skip this part if you don't use customer records in your dp2 database. Then you don't have to worry about this part. If you submit orders on behalf of a customer and perhaps their credentials are missing or they were input incorrectly into the system, they're still going to go up to the CaptureLife portal and be tied to the lab account instead of your photographer account. So you don't want that to happen, but we'll do some checks and balances too to make sure that they are tied to the right account in the CaptureLife portal. And then the third step, well, I needed a third step to work with the rule of threes and the power of threes. But the last step is really just automated, because you guys run jobs, of course. That's how they get to where they need to go, including this CaptureLife scenario. You'll run jobs, your render engine will render those CaptureLife products to disk, those CaptureLife jobs to disk. And then when the render engine knows that it's a CaptureLife product based on those CaptureLife nodes, it says, oh, this is a CaptureLife product. It creates work records automatically that go into a work queue. And then you have to run a worker, and it's that worker that will actually then upload those CaptureLife digital download files to the portal. And then for ultimate downstream delivery, if everything's uploaded, that'll happen immediately. If there has to be some sort of intervention at the CaptureLife portal before that happens, then the right players will get notified for that. Okay, guys, so how you doing? I'm about to jump over to dp2 and show you these pieces and parts. All right, so let me bounce over to dp2, and I'm going to start with step 1. Anybody remember what step 1 is? You can type it if you do. What's step 1? You guys love it when I put you on the spot, huh? Let's see. Thank you. Holly, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yes, we need to make sure a dp2 product, CaptureLife specific dp2 product, thank you for that. You do participate in letting me put you on the spot, so thank you. So we'll start with the product. This is a reminder for me to tell you guys that we have so much CaptureLife dp2 integration information for you. Obviously, we're coming at you live with this webinar that's being recorded, and that will be posted. There's a whole bunch of CaptureLife help that Peter has put together for us, Peter with the help of the entire team, starting with creating products, then the CaptureLife credentials, both yours and, if appropriate, your photographers, and then rendering and uploading those CaptureLife jobs. We also have an e-learning course for you guys, and I believe that that went out with the notification of the release of 21.2. So let me show you the default product. It's in the release. I'll just open up the containing folder, and it's in your KPDP2, your shared KPDP2. Well, you have it everywhere, but you're looking in your shared location at this point. In your layouts folder, in a CaptureLife folder, I have several other examples that kind of are there to do other things, but you'll have one, and it's called CaptureLife AR. The AR is for auto resize. That's how the designers put it into dp2, so that when you drop an image into it, it has that auto resize keyword in it, so that the pixel dimension based on the width and the height of the image is auto size based on the resolution in your output. So it just does the math and creates the right size product. So you'll just take that and drag it into a dp2 category. Please notice I have a CaptureLife category. You certainly do not have to have it in a CaptureLife category. We have that same message sprinkled in through the other type of learning that we have for you guys too. That I know the e-learning module specifically says the same thing. It doesn't matter where you put it. I mean, it's the same rule with really any product. But mine are in this CaptureLife. Better yet, I mean, if you remember, maybe when you see it and say, oh, I know I can't work with the default one because every time I upgrade to a new version of dp2, it's going to get, overwritten. Then you could copy it, you could paste it, you could call it your lab CaptureLife product, and then go ahead and bring that one into dp2, and then right from the start you would be assured that you're not going to put any hard work into the default one, accidentally forget to save it as a different file, and then you'd have to bring it in. Remember, you can't duplicate the product in dp2, you guys know, because you're pointing to the same original source file, so you really would physically have to save it as a different file on disk and then be working with that one. So if there's any questions on that one, I'll let you guys type that question in that case. So let me open it up, show you what it looks like. It has nodes in it that are set to not print and don't render. It's taking advantage of a whole lot of those opportunities that we have in dp2, no print. So it's here for informational purposes, for QA purposes, so that you know it's a CaptureLife product. This is what we put on there, guys. It's not going to print. It just tells the operator that it's a CaptureLife product, but you guys can obviously rename these nodes anything that you want. This is key, though. If I click on one of these nodes, this is really the heart of how things happen automatically, are these named nodes. You'll see CaptureLife _name, email, phone, event. That's how, when this product ultimately gets rendered as a job file, the render engine says, oh, I know what to do with this because I see these CaptureLife node names as the job is being parsed, and it creates then the rest of the automated workflow. It creates work records, and those work records automatically get executed if you have a worker running. A worker's just like a render engine, though. You can set it to auto start when you open up dp2, and then you don't have to worry about it because your worker is running. And if those work records get created, then things are happening truly automatically. So you guys can use this product as an example, but I also want to show you how you could create these CaptureLife products on your own products. Let me open up this one first and show you that we do load these with macros. So if you are doing your order item creation from within dp2, from data, from subject information, and you hit create order items, or maybe you're doing it from deliverables and you're creating your prints and packages from there and specialty items. If you're data driven and you're creating jobs from within dp2, then you probably are going to be pulling this information from some column in your subject information table. You guys, like I said, products and macros better than anybody, so you know that what we're putting in here are just examples, and of course you would have to change these based on your node numbers of the product that you are creating as a CaptureLife product. If you're using this one, we are using node 10,000, but you might not be storing first name in a column called first name, or you know what to do there. So, and this is also set up where it does show the label on these fields just for visual sake. There's some shading going on in these nodes. Again, they're not going to print. They're all set to no print, and they are set with some shading, background shading, color properties, just so that these pop from the image that might be behind it. So this is the key, guys. If you wanted to place these nodes on your products, I'll just show you that by, I'll duplicate one of these guys, and I'll just move it out of the way here. So you would create a node, just like you create a node, and you would pop it open. We've had some questions about this for those of you that have been testing this workflow with us prior to this official release. You're going to pop open the text node, So you're going to double click on it to open it up, and then you're going to right click, and there's this whole long, wonderful CaptureLife list of nodes and node properties. So this would label this one name. Here's email, phone, event, invite additional users. These are at the top of the list just because these are probably the most common input node names that you will have on your CaptureLife products. But then you have all of these overrides for additional workflows. If you wanted to do, for example, I'll use a couple of these as an example. If you wanted to require anything, so if you wanted to make sure that dp2 doesn't send anything to the CaptureLife portal without a name, without a phone or an email, without an event, then you can put overrides in these nodes that basically do just that. So now look at this. This node is named, I'll pull this over here. This node is named CaptureLife _ require phone or email, and it's basically a 1. It's turned on. So basically, if I run this and I have an image in here and email or phone is empty, or if they're both empty, as long as one is there, it's okay. But if they're both empty, then I'll get a message in the worker, and I'll show you how to run a report so that you can kind of do an audit before anything goes up to CaptureLife. There's a lot in here, you guys, and I don't have the time to cover all of these, but I think it's important for you to understand some of the basics here. You can use your own products. You can put your own nodes on the products. You can double click to open up the node. That's when you're going to right click and get to this CaptureLife menu via your text nodes. You can override a setup. You can override a photographer ID. You know, as usual, our developers thought of kind of every working scenario and opportunity. So there's a lot of opportunity in here for various workflows. Even images rendered to disk, because the first thing these CaptureLife products need to do is they need to get rendered to disk. So you can optionally never delete those. They get rendered to disk somewhere in your dp2 environment on a server somewhere, or you can always delete them once they're rendered to disk and then uploaded to the CaptureLife portal. So good things in here. Kind of keep this in mind. There's a reason we put these kind of top 4 or 5 at the top of the list, because this is pretty key information that in many cases you will be uploading to the CaptureLife portal. And in one case, I'm saying if you create your jobs from dp2, from subject information, and all the data is in dp2, then you're going to have macros in it. But for many of you that are going to have this CaptureLife product be a part of your remote order entry systems, there's no macro in there. And there could still be a macro in there, but in many cases your photographer is manually supplying the data in that product. And if that's the case, the photographer is typing in name and email and phone and event. They're dropping in an image, or maybe they're dropping in a bunch of images at one time. It might be different poses of the same subject. Whatever the scenario is in your remote order entry system, it's these fields are either manually entered into in a remote order situation, or if you're creating jobs from dp2, then you probably have these loaded with macros that automatically do the job for you. All of this is spelled out, guys, in the help file, and additionally it's all spelled out in the e-learning as well. At the end of this session, I'll bounce over and remind you guys of that e-learning. I'll paste the link inside of our chat box here. So I have these order items that are already created. What I did is I created packages. So I basically have the CaptureLife product as a part of a print package. So yes, I created mine manually in dp2, but obviously this would be the same look and feel and end result if these order items were coming in remotely from your remote ordering system. I do have workflows set up. So we don't do this automatically on the CaptureLife product, but for those of you that are using the workflow scenario in dp2, there's a workflow column in the products table, and you can basically identify you know, your canvas products as such, your book products as such, your traditional prints as such, now your CaptureLife products as such. And then, you know, operators can, you know, just grab the right workflow and work with whatever part of the order they're intended to work with. It's really just a filter, guys, that allows you to get to certain types of products. You can also view these order items by category, by product category and product type. So you might have some of those kind of filtering scenarios happening as well. Let me just check in with you guys. How you doing? If you guys want to give me a hand raise, so let me know that this is making sense, that you're doing okay so far. I'm not going to force you to give me that, but it's one way we get to check in with each other to see how you're doing. Good. You guys look like you're doing good. Okay, I think I'll keep going, and I might reserve time, or I will reserve time at the end for questions, just because I'm keeping my eye on the time, and I want to make sure that I cover all the dp2 pieces and parts for you guys. So step number one is products. Part of step number one for products is product nodes that are appropriately named with those CaptureLife naming convention that also indicate what information to send to CaptureLife, or perhaps an audit to perform in dp2 to make sure that nothing gets uploaded without delivery information, such as the end consumer email or phone number. All right, step number two, as I outlined in my PowerPoint presentation, is your CaptureLife credentials inside of dp2. That's on your export category. So if you need to make a note, if you need to take a screen grab, we're on step number two, and it's this CaptureLife Setups table. So you will need to have your CaptureLife account at this point, and you'll go ahead and when you create a new record, some of these fields are filled out for you. You'll have to indicate your lab email and your password. You'll give it a unique ID. Of course, you'll want to enable that. If you want to work in live mode, you'll want anything that is using this setup to be published. This is where you have the opportunity to delete your images that are rendered to disk. You can go into testing mode if you don't want to upload to the CaptureLife portal. You might have different queues, different work queues. You might create your own. You might use the CaptureLife queue. You might already have plenty of work queues to choose from. You guys decide that. And then based on your credentials that are here, I can't really do it on this one, but I want to show you, once you save that record and right click, there's this option here to get your lab access token from CaptureLife. So that's why we're asking you to contact CaptureLife first and get that ball rolling, because then by the time you're ready to set this stuff up in dp2, you're going to have that account. You're going to have to be established so that it can be a simple right click, get that access token from CaptureLife, and that's a verification of your CaptureLife account that's here in dp2. So it's really simple. We have this all documented, guys, in the e-learning and the help file. Also part of step two is, if you're not a vertical lab, if you do have customers that are CaptureLife customers, as is this case. So I'm going to go to my customer data table. This is the second part of step number two, is making sure that credentials exist in dp2, both your lab credentials and your photographer credentials, your CaptureLife photographer credentials. We'll talk more about this. You guys will talk more to CaptureLife about this, but these CaptureLife provider IDs are really your photographer CaptureLife account IDs. You can access those in your CaptureLife portal. You can change those in your CaptureLife portal, but this is one of those other very simple but very key pieces, so that when dp2 does upload images to the CaptureLife portal, it's being tied to the right photographer, the right customer account. If you guys are vertical operations and you're not using this customer data table, then everything that you upload to the CaptureLife portal is tied to your lab account, okay? So it's really just a matter of does the, do these CaptureLife provider IDs exist in your workflow, or do they not? Are you working with photographers, or are you a vertical operation? So that's super simple. The only other option here is to be set up to notify customers, end customers, that is, once those images are uploaded, in this case on behalf of the photographer account, or to have it set up for this particular photographer, perhaps, that they always need to kind of intercept at the CaptureLife portal, and they need to do something, they want to send out the notifications. Perhaps it's a chroma key workflow where they have to identify the right set of backgrounds before then notifying the customer. There are different workflows, you guys, that you will either want the downstream delivery to happen automatically to the end customer, or you want to stop and give your customers the opportunity, your customers, the photographer, the opportunity to intercept and work with that order in the CaptureLife portal before then distributing those notifications to the end customer. This can be a setting at the customer level, but the products, all those overrides, you guys, that I was showing you inside of those CaptureLife nodes, those are all intended to be overrides at the product level that would supersede, and hence the word override these default settings. So that's step number 2. I'm going to go right into step number 3. You guys, I'm going to run these. I'm just going to go ahead, and I selected them, hit R on my keyboard. I'm running them. I think I have a render engine open. Here it is. I do have a render engine running. But what I don't have running is, just because I want to step you through this a little bit more manually, I'm going to make sure I do not have a worker running. And that's just so that I can pause and show you what happens automatically. Remember, the rest of this workflow is the API part, the automated part. The render engine just rendered those CaptureLife products, and of course it knows it's CaptureLife because of all the CaptureLife named nodes, and based on that named node, we know what to do with that. And work records were created. So the other place I'm going to take you to is the events table. Some of you guys have more experience with workers and work queues. If you're already doing like event stuff in dp2, and events are being triggered when an order is received, and you're sending order received emails and updating statuses and doing some really cool event stuff, which has been around for a couple of releases now rather, then you might know a little bit more about work queues and workers. For those of you that might not be using it a whole lot yet, just know that it's very automated in this CaptureLife sense. Let me go to my CaptureLife work queue, and there is a record in here that basically starts this automated process of, okay, well, I know the render engine knows that it's a CaptureLife product, right? It knows it's a CaptureLife product based on those CaptureLife named nodes. So the render engine rendered those to disk and said, oh, well, let me do what I'm supposed to do, create this work record. This is going to expand to a lot of individual work records that I'll show you when the worker gets a hold of it. We'll see that, the right information is being set up for the right image, or sent up rather for the right image, the right email address, the right cell phone, whatever it is. So let me start this worker. Now, I think I said it before. I know I said it before. Your workers can be set up to auto run. So on the setup tab of any worker, you'll find this define auto start workers. This is where you can indicate on this workstation or any workstation for the worker to auto start, so that you don't have to remember to do that. So let me run this. Now, purposefully, I am going to have one in here with an error. I wanted to show you guys that. And I'll run a report for you. So I do have one that errors out. It's going to happen quickly, you guys, but try to take notice. You'll see, I could stop it and pause it, but it'll be done here in a second, and then I can scroll through it. But you'll see that, email addresses are being sent up. Like in this case, an email address was set up. It doesn't look like a phone number, a cell phone number was available to send. Looks like the same in this case. In many cases, it's both a phone number and an email address that's being sent up. I do have some in here that are set to not notify. So those would just be hanging out in the portal until I go in there and, you know, release those or add the right information or add backgrounds if it's a kind of a PNG and that type of workflow. I think I have those in here. I might not have created those actually. I might create those now though. Let me just take a second to do that. I have this, where is it? I have this chroma key one. Let me actually do that so you guys can see this workflow too. And I do have some chroma key images here toward the end of my order. Let me just create those. And I'm pretty sure inside of this product, I do have a CaptureLife node here. You can tell that these are set to auto resize, by the way, too, you guys. Some of these images are really large, right? So these CaptureLife nodes are, you know, small, hanging out in the upper left. Some of these images are really small. So the CaptureLife nodes that are here, remember, just for informational purposes, just for passing off purposes to the CaptureLife portal. One of the things I want to say about this is that your CaptureLife product that you put in your catalog, right, that's part of your remote order entry system, it probably doesn't look anything like this one. I mean, it probably has information on it, helpful text on it, neat and clean text nodes for the photographer to enter in name and email and phone. And then, of course, you might be marrying it up with more of a production product that looks like this in dp2 that, of course, is the right size, right? Because you want the right size image rendered to disk and uploaded. So it's going to have all these informational nodes kind of right on top somewhere. But I was just pointing out that that auto resize is indicated. So I don't know if I ran these. I know I'm kind of jumping around here on you guys a little bit, but let me just run those. And I'm also, while I'm here, I'm going to run this cool report for you. So I'll clean these things up a little bit so that I don't have so much open for you guys, and I'll let that render engine and worker do its thing on those transparencies that are in the image. In the product, by the way, for these PNG scenarios that I have indicated to not send to the end customer, so to not notify, that would definitely be a workflow scenario where the photographer would then go to the CaptureLife portal, make sure the right backgrounds are a part of that. But that's a workflow that you guys will talk more to CaptureLife about, because any of the work that you're doing in the portal itself, we know that you guys are going to have a healthy relationship with CaptureLife on that side of the house. We're here to help you really with the whole workflow, but in many cases we'll direct you to CaptureLife for those CaptureLife support instances for your different workflows and understanding the portal and getting your backgrounds in the portal or working with specialty products in the portal or wherever that may be. So we're all in this together, you guys, to help each other out, certainly, but we will direct you to CaptureLife for those kind of portal understandings. So let me right click here under view. If you want to take a picture of this, that's why I'll slow down. There's this view CaptureLife data, and it runs a report, really returns records in a table, but I call it a report. And because I do have an audit included in at least some of these CaptureLife products, and I'm saying, hey, I don't want to upload anything that doesn't have a delivery mechanism in it, right? That doesn't have a cell phone, obviously the best delivery mechanism, not necessarily the only one, but a really good one for those of us that want to be reached that way, and we all kind of want to be reached that way. So this would fail, and so those are the failures that I see inside of the render engine, the worker, and if I click on that, the error message is really pretty clear that, hey, this record, Harry Styles here, does not have an email or a phone number. We can get to Harry pretty easily. We can, you know, double click to visually see who he is. And, oh no, we can double click up here to see who Harry Styles is. And we can search Harry Styles in the subject information table and make that correction. So guys, I am running out of time. You know, I tend to always do that, but I am going to open things up for questions in just a second. So if you can hang out later than 2:45, I always can. I always like to leave 15 minutes to the top of the hour so that you guys can get to wherever you need to go to and get to next, whether it's a meeting or getting back to work. I don't have to leave at 2:45, but for those of you that do, when we reach that mark, I totally understand, and I completely appreciate you being here. Here's the e-learning that we did send you, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to paste that right now into the chat if you guys wanted to grab that link. This is a link to the e-learning that we put together for everything that I've shown you, you guys, and it's broken out kind of in the same way where we set up products. You need to have your CaptureLife credentials in there, both yours and, if appropriate, your photographers, your customers, their CaptureLife credentials. And then how you run those jobs, of course, render engines, workers are running, pulling work queues. And then I have some additional workflows in here talking about the report that I just showed you, talking about adding those overrides to your products, and a lot of what you need is right there. And you guys know that you can always contact us one-on-one, and we will help you out that way. Just a sneak peek here to what it looks like for you on the portal as the lab, or your photographers on the portal. And we can see things like, these are my PNG files that got uploaded with transparent backgrounds. This was not, I don't think this was a PNG. You can see the status as to whether it was created. If it's created, it's just sitting here waiting for the photographer to do something. They received an email notification. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but anytime anything gets uploaded to the portal that does not get delivered downstream to the end customer, the photographer will be notified so that they know that the upload took place, and now they have to log into the portal and do their part before then notifying everyone that's selected. So there's a lot here. I'm not going to get into the details of the portal, you guys, but I just kind of wanted to end and show you that kind of last piece of it. But of course, with the understanding that if the end consumer was supposed to get notified automatically because everything got sent up with delivery information, then look at this, all of these invites got sent automatically. So that status, and there might be something in here that failed, I can't remember why, but the statuses are pretty clear and easy to understand. But for those of you guys who are jumping off, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate the opportunity to connect with you guys. Take care, everyone.